Okay, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a 10th century text that completely flips our understanding of spirituality right on its head. We're going to be exploring volume 24 of the Zongjing Lu, which translates to The Record of the Source Mirror. It was compiled by this brilliant scholar monk named Yang Mingyan Shou, and let me tell you, this isn't just some dry historical document, it's actually a radical, totally mind-bending psychological treatise that's kind of disguised as theology. So if you think you know how ancient religious philosophy operates, you might want to prepare yourself, because we are about to have our perspective entirely inverted.
You know, we usually view religion as a strictly external pursuit, don't we? We picture worshippers bowing down to distant figures who are residing in these majestic, pure lands or heavenly realms light years away from us. We kind of just imagine divinity as something out there, totally separate from our mundane, everyday existence. But what if, and hear me out on this, what if we've been looking in the wrong direction this whole time? What if the cosmos we're trying so desperately to reach isn't a place you travel to, but actually a place you already inhabit?
Well, the Record of the Source Mirror literally pulls no punches here. It boldly claims that seeking salvation outside of yourself is actually an inverted view. In fact, the text goes so far as to call the act of looking for a physical, external Buddha a disease of the eyes. It argues that clinging to the outward forms of deities just traps you in this endless web of delusion. To find the ultimate truth, you literally have to stop looking up at the clouds and start looking inward. So let's jump into section 1, the one mind and its internal manifestations. To build the foundation for this massive paradigm shift, the text asserts that everything we think of as divine is fundamentally what it calls the one mind. This means that all the grand cosmic realms, the towering Buddhas, and the deeply compassionate bodhisattvas you read about in ancient scriptures, they are not physical entities waiting for you in the afterlife. No, they're actually these profound, incredibly intricate maps of your own mind. The one mind is the ultimate source. It's the cause, and it is the result. And this brilliantly illustrates how your mind is not isolated. The author asks us to imagine a single room hung with 100,000 mirrors. When a person looks into one mirror, all the other mirrors reflect that exact image, endlessly interacting and reflecting one another without any obstruction whatsoever. In that exact same way, your individual mind acts as a pristine mirror that contains and reflects the boundless cosmos. You aren't just some tiny speck in the universe. The entire universe is folded up right there inside your own awareness.
Moving right along to section 2, Buddhas within you, mapped as psychological states.
So, how does the text reconcile this grand, sweeping mythology with what sounds like a very modern psychological framework? Well, what's truly fascinating is how it systematically decodes majestic external deities into highly relatable internal states. Take the historical Sakyamuni Buddha, for instance. He represents your mind's boundless capacity and absolute stillness. Maitreya, the future Buddha, is simply the true organic compassion that naturally arises from within you. Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light, he represents the limitless, enduring nature of your own consciousness. And Akshobhya is your mind's immovable, unshakable calm. You aren't worshiping different people up in the sky, you're actually naming the highest potentials of your own psychology. And it goes even further, translating revered bodhisattvas into very specific cognitive functions. Manjusri is your active, discerning wisdom. Samantabhadra represents your daily actions and the karma you're generating. Guanyin, the incredibly famous goddess of mercy, is actually your own deep-seated capacity for empathy. And Mahastamaprapta is your willpower and volition. The text is essentially proving that praying to them is a brilliant ancient metaphor for cultivating your own internal empathy, wisdom, and drive. Which brings us to section 3, the 10 mental faculties, where the 10 disciples are decoded. So moving from mythical deities to the actual historical figures who walked alongside the Buddha, the text introduces this fascinating psychological framework using a really great political metaphor. It compares your core consciousness to a mind king. Now, obviously a king can't rule a whole country alone, right? He needs a cabinet of ministers. Similarly, your core consciousness is advised and shaped by 10 specific mental faculties, and these represent exactly how our thoughts, our reactions, and our perceptions are governed on a moment-to-moment basis. Listen to how this framework breaks down. Sariputra represents your wisdom. Ananda, the guy who famously recited the Buddhist teachings from memory, literally represents your cognitive receptivity and memory retention. Subhuti is your sense of liberation, and Upali is your mindfulness. So when you read these ancient stories about the Buddha speaking to his disciples, you're actually reading an allegorical manual about a unified, awakened mind communicating directly with its own internal cognitive processes. How wild is that? All right, section 4. the body as cosmos, exploring the microcosm and macrocosm.
Let's step back from the mind for just a second, because this text doesn't just stop at psychology. It completely redefines our biology. It presents this stunning anatomical metaphor, proving that the individual is a perfect microcosm of the external macrocosm. In this worldview, you aren't just some stranger wandering through a cold, disconnected universe. You are inextricably linked to it. The elements that make up the vast world outside are the exact same elements that construct your physical form.
Just think about how beautifully this maps out. The text tells us that your round head is the dome of the sky, and your square feet plant you as the earth. Your breath is the wind rushing through mountains and valleys. Your eyes, they are the sun and the moon. Your hair represents the stars in the night sky, and your bones and flesh are the jade, stone, and soil of the world. When you truly realize your eyes are the sun and moon and your breath is the wind, you understand that you carry the majestic external universe inside you everywhere you go. You are, quite literally, walking geography.
And finally, Section 5, Enlightenment in the Everyday, and the concept of the straight mind.
So if your mind is the Buddha and your body is the cosmos, how do we actually practice this on, say, a random Tuesday morning? Well, the text says, "The straight mind is the dojo." I absolutely love this quote. A dojo, or a bodhimanda, is a place of awakening. It's a sacred space. This powerful quote means that the ultimate sanctuary isn't some distant, majestic temple sitting on top of a mountain somewhere. It's your own direct, unclouded awareness right here, right now. You don't need to travel to find a sacred space. You generate it through your own attention.
Once you really grasp the one mind, even the most ordinary, mundane actions become profound spiritual events that connect you to the universe. The record of the Source Mirror points out that true spiritual work, actual Buddha work, isn't just chanting or performing complex rituals. It's eating a simple meal with full awareness. It's drinking a glass of water. It's the simple act of putting on your daily clothes or just sitting in momentary silence. Because your mind is the ultimate source, bringing your full, clear attention to these basic daily acts transforms them into moments of profound awakening.
So I want to leave you with this one thought. We spend so much of our time searching for meaning, for validation, and for awe in the external world. We look for the right job, the right place, the right external conditions to finally feel at peace. But since you already contain the ultimate sanctuary, since your mind is the Buddha and your body is the cosmos, how are you going to explore your own internal cosmos today? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.